Yesterday, I had the opportunity to be at the forum with the Minister when he was announcing a number of changes to immigration here in New Zealand. Thanks to the MP for the invitation. So let's get right into the changes with the skilled migrant category, SMC changes, and the parent resident visa changes. But first, if you do find this video of use or any of our videos useful, please do share them. It helps us get the information out there. This video is also not legal advice, it's just our commentary on immigration here in New Zealand. If you're looking for legal advice, whether it be about the SMC visa coming back, the parent resident visa, or any other visa we can assist you with, please get in contact with us through our website or at the email address down below. So after a lot of talking yesterday, the Minister finally got what we were waiting for, which was SMC and the parent resident visa. Now, a number of us knew that these two things were coming, and we saw a lot of sort of rumours going around online, and from what we heard, it was generally fairly well known in the past few days that these visas were coming through in some way, but now we have a bit more of the finer details as to how this is going to work. We're going to start with SMC, but for those of you who were here to find out about the parent residence visa, I will put the timestamp in the video down below so you can see what point to jump forward to, and you can hear more about that visa from that point. Now for SMC, we won't go into the basics of how the SMC, the skilled migrant category visa works. The only thing to note is that while the green list straight to residence work visa and the residence from work visa are limited to certain jobs and incomes, SMC is the one that should be there to provide a pathway for most applicants looking to get to residence through work in this country. The next draw, the draws this up, of course, just when the border closed. We've had no draws since March 2020. The next draw will be on 9th of March 2022. Now, all of those were in the pool on that date with 160 points or more will be drawn from the pool. They'll be evaluated, and if their points are correct, they'll be invited to apply for a skilled migrant residence visa. Now, 9 November 2022 will be the only draw in 2022. The next draw will be 18th of January 2023. And then there'll be draws monthly from the third Thursday of every month. So going from the previously every 2 weeks, going down to once a month. Now, from that draw in January 2023, there will be a point requirement of 180, so 20 points higher than the current 160. It is stated that this will be better aligned with the future direction of the skilled migrant category. We're going to cover this, the future direction, later in this video, but right for now, 160 for one final draw and then 180. Now, for those of you with EOIs, expressions of interest in the pool, currently you should have an ability to update those expressions of interest before the 9 November draw. You can also withdraw them if you wish and apply for a refund of your EOI fee of $530. Now, you must ensure your EOI is up to date before the selection begins. So if you have an EOI in there, definitely go in there and check it. EOIs that are submitted before 9th of May 2022, which are not selected in this draw in November, will expire. They will not go forward to future draws. So if you have an EOI in the pool and you do not meet the 160 point criteria or any of the other requirements, probably best to withdraw it now if you submitted prior to 9th of May 2022. So if you aren't sure, go and check it just to make sure. If you haven't got an EOI in the pool, you can submit it before 9th of November and be included in that draw. So this is your final chance at 160 points to get in there, so definitely have a look at that. After that, 180 points will be the requirement going forward from January forward until we bring into the new system, which we're going to cover later in this video. Now, we're going to look at they are bringing through the changes to the invitation to apply. So basically, once you do the EOI, you submit that, they do the draw, and they do an ITA, invitation to apply, asking you to actually apply for the visa itself. Now, currently these are done on paper, but they are moving on to an online system, which is definitely much more simple than the paper-based approach. We're hoping it won't be through the new enhanced immigration system, which is having massive faults when it comes to the RV21 applications. We'll have to wait and see what system they're going to use. We have heard rumours that they may be looking at the system they use sort of temporarily for the first batch of RV21s with the old system crashed, and the same one that they were using for the CPVV expressions of interest for the border exceptions. If so, that could be a much smoother, easier process than using the newer system, but we'll have to wait and see when that does take place. It's going to be a month away. The requirements will be the same as present, except that there'll be scans of documents required rather than the printed certified copies that are required previously with the paper-based version. There's no information yet as to how INZ is going to handle all these applications. The SMC team has, up until these past few days, been pretty tiny. It went down from I think hundreds of staff, or maybe 100 staff, down to about 10 staff, we heard, handling over 1,000 applications at present. Now, the team is being increased, with staff being trained over the last few days and the coming days, but those staff need to come from somewhere else. So an introduction to SMC, bringing that back, will result in, we think, slower visas somewhere else in the system. We're going to cover this a little more later in the video. Now, looking at SMC going forward, the Minister is currently looking for input through a consultation document. We will provide a link to this in the description down below. This is looking at SMC as well as the green list and the highly paid residence visas. Now, we won't focus too much on this because it is a lot of discussion points without much being fixed. But we do want to look at the major changes as to how they're going to change things going forward. And just so it's clear, this is looking to replace SMC as well as the green list and residence visas and the highly paid residence visas. So this will be a package covering all of those. It's going to be a move to a simplified sort of point system. This is actually just the commentary and request for submissions. It's just come out. We will go through this, have a read, and see if there's anything important there for you. We'll leave a link to it in the description below, but right now it is 26 pages long, so we're not going to cover that in this video. We are going to cover, though, is this proposed future point system for this new change they're going to bring through at some point, probably in 2023. Now, under the change, applicants would need 6 points to be able to apply for residence. 3 to 6 of those points can be gained through registration for their role, qualifications, or income, being these 3 columns here, with people choosing the category that gives them the most points. We're going to run through a few examples there just to explain how that's going to work. Up to 3 points can be gained through this column here, with a 1 point gained for every year of work. So someone with a PhD can get residence just being based on their qualification with any job offer and no need for work experience. Here with a level 10, 6 points, which is great news for the hundreds of PhD students I've spoken to in the past year. Now, there are some examples we're going to run through provided by the Minister. So first here, yes, a scientist with a PhD can claim 6 points for the qualification and be eligible for residence straight away if they have a job or job offer in New Zealand. A licensed builder can gain 3 points under this category here and then get 3 more points. So one of these plus the skilled work in New Zealand, 3 more points there. That's 6 points they can apply. A chef, as an example, someone who may not have that registration because there's no registration there for a chef, and may not have the qualifications if they have come through learning in the kitchen. If they have a 1.5 times median wage, they'll get 3 points there, plus 3 years of work experience. There's their 6 points, and they can be eligible to apply. Now, a teacher is an example of someone who may have more than one option here. So a teacher could claim 3 points for registration, being this category down here, being registration with greater than 3 years training work experience required for the registration. So there's 3 points plus 3 years of experience they could apply. However, if they also had a master's degree, which is not unusual for teachers, they would gain 5 points from that and would then require 1 year of work experience to then get up to the 6 point requirement. So it does leave it open as to which path that they can go down and which is best for them. Now we're going to, one of the issues we had for so long with SMC taking so long, and also with actually residence to work being the same queue as taking years to process, was not down to Immigration New Zealand being slow, no matter how often the old minister would sort of point the finger blaming them. It was down to the cap on the numbers which the government enforced through the NZ residence program. There was only so many visas that the Immigration New Zealand could grant every year in these certain programs, and they would sit there with applications ready to be granted, waiting for the next allotment of residences visas to grant. Once those came through, they'd grant those visas, and that sort of dragged things out. So effectively halved in 2018, where we saw SMC going from 6 to 9 months to process to several years. Now, the Minister has announced that that cap is now gone. There is no longer a cap on the maximum number of residence visas that immigration can grant. So it will now come down to processing these things as fast as possible and as down to how much capacity Immigration New Zealand has to grant these visas. And we'll look at that later in this video. Now, looking at the parent resident visa, there's the other big announcement is the return of that visa after a 6-month lapse. It was originally removed by the previous government for sort of 1 or 2 years, and 6 years later it has finally returned. It was due to return originally in early 2020, but the pandemic brought that to an end. The original plan was to do 1,000 of these per year. That's being increased to 2,500 per year, and there's no indication that that will be reduced in the future. It seems to be 2,500 per year going forward. But this 2,500 will be split into 2 numbers, and we're going to cover that now. So at the moment, there's 9,000 applicants in the pool who applied for this, either sort of before that 2020 was supposed to start again, or since then, hoping to get this done when this came back. Now, on that base, now they're going to allow 2,000 of that 2,500 applications will be focused on that 9,000 backlog. So that 9,000 backlog, 2,000 per year, while there will be some who withdraw or who are ineligible, immigration is saying it's going to take 3 to 4 years for that 2,000 per year to clear out that 9,000 backlog. Now, those of you with applications still in the pool, you'll be given a chance to update your applications if need be before the draw takes place in November. Those of you who were previously in the pool and you may have withdrawn your application due to the changes in the payment requirements or the income requirements will be given a chance to re-enter that original pool so that you can be included in that 2,000 per year that's going forward. Now, 2,000 per year will be done chronologically, so those who applied the earliest will be processed first, and these EOIs will not expire, so you will stay in the pool until they've gotten through the entire 9,000 or however many there are going to be in there in the end. If, of course, you do want to withdraw for whatever reason, you can withdraw your application and get a refund of your fee. Take some time to come through, but you can do that. Now, for those of you who are not in the pool or who weren't in the pool and haven't had an option to rejoin, and you want to join the pool new, this will open up in May 2020. No, 2023 is when they'll open up the pool for new entrants into it. And then starting in August 2023, applications will be drawn randomly from the pool, or by ballot, as they say. 500 applicants per year will be drawn at first, and then that will increase to 2,500 once the original 9,000 have been dealt with. So perhaps in 3 or 4 or so years, that 500 per year would go to 2,500 per year who will be drawn from those who start entering the pool from May next year. Applications in the pool will last for 2 years. So if you enter the pool and you're not drawn in a 2-year period, you must reapply every 2 years. So the advice is, because the draws start in August 2023, that it's best to make the application into the pool closer to that date. If you apply in sort of May, when they do open the pool up, your application will expire in May 2025, even though the draws only start in August. So it's probably best to wait till sort of July, August to actually enter the pool, so you get more time of that 2 years actually with a chance of being drawn. The other big change was in regards to who can sponsor someone coming in under the parent resident visa. Previously, it was one child with the possibility of their partner adding into their income requirements. Now, this can now be spread between the 2 adult children if a person looking to retire or a couple looking to retire in New Zealand have 2 children in New Zealand. However, if you do include the second child in the coupling, when you're calculating the income, you cannot include partners. So it's either going to be an applicant, a child with their partner, or 2 children. You can't have the 2 children with the 2 partners assisting with the income levels. Now, this does seem to be a missed opportunity, so it may result in the end of having a child and their partner doing one parent and the other child and their partner doing the other parent. So you basically bring in both parents but in two separate applications, just because you're not perhaps going to have a level of income there to cover all four parents. However, the level of income has also dropped from what it was previously. So back in early 2020, we were looking at basically double the median as the starting point, and then adding to that for each parent that you want to add to it. This has now been reduced to 1.5 times the median, and then each parent being added, generally adding another half a median wage. This will of course go up in February 2023 with the median wage going up to $29.66, as we indicated a couple of months ago. So it does move the requirements down quite significantly. So the figures from early 2020, which when it was due to return, required a couple who were earning at least $265,000 to bring in all four parents. So you required over $250,000 a year in income to bring in all four parents for a couple. Despite the massive increases in the median wage in the past 2 years, this will now be $202,000 to bring in all four parents. So still a significant amount, but definitely a reduction of what it was before. If you had two siblings here with partners, they could divide it up, and it brings the figure down quite a lot to a point where hopefully more people will actually be eligible to apply due to their siblings' income. Now there is an issue again with this, which we'll cover in a moment. But if we can assist you with any of these parent visas, a number of our clients are coming to us asking for assistance. Let us know. We have dealt with a number of these for the last several years. We've been dealing with parent visas and preparing parents for this category. Now the issues, while overall there's some good news for many, there are a few issues that based around what has been announced. First, it is all about, as I said before, the INZ capacity. Now, they're already having issues with how many people they can process at once, and that a number of visas are getting slower and taking a while to process. Things which should be relatively simple, like a permanent residence or transferring visas across, can take longer than they probably should. And because they're moving staff away from those areas to handle other visa types. Now, you're bringing in a team to handle SMC. We've heard that it's a Manukau branch that is being trained for this, which means there'll be less handling of the IV21s, which they were currently working on. Now, to be fair, with IV21s, the biggest delay with phase 2, which is what the applications generally are now, is the extremely buggy, horrible enhanced immigration system, which is just an absolute mess of bugs and errors. So that is the biggest delay for a lot of that, and if we can perhaps see some of those fixed, that could provide more of the automation that was promised from the new system and allow that staff to work on SMC. So if we see that those automation sides being fixed, perhaps that won't mean a move across to SMC will impact those applications. The other issue is the limit on the parent resident visas, at least for those who are onshore. Now, we've acted for a number of grandparents who came to New Zealand before the pandemic with the intention of remaining under the parent resident visa. However, when the visa didn't open as planned, because of the pandemic, they were stuck in New Zealand throughout that period. Now, the minister at the time extended their visas so they could remain lawfully in the country, but those visas have all generally come to an end, which now leaves them in a situation where they have sort of three options. They can apply for a temporary visa they most likely won't get because they've been here for such an extended period of time, and immigration is going to go, well, you've gone past your 18 months and 3-year allowance. Option 2 is to leave the country and return home while they wait for the parent resident visa, which could be several years. And option 3 is to become unlawful and remain in New Zealand. We've helped a number of unlawful grandparents gain residence in that situation when going home just isn't an option. They're in New Zealand because they may be generally quite healthy for their age, but at their age, living a life without support of family around them becomes too difficult, and that's why they're in this country looking to this category in the first place. Now, with 9,000 in queue and only 2,000 a year being drawn from that 9,000, those onshore are unlikely to have a visa, a residence visa, sometime in the next several years. It means that they're going to be in this country looking for a way to remain here, but with no real visa options for a temporary entry visa to stay here. So they may be in a situation where it's either go home without the support or remain here unlawfully. And I think there needs to be an oversight there from the minister. There needs to be another option here so they can remain in the country lawfully. But for those of you who that's not an option, please get in contact with us. We've done a number of these applications, number of IPT requests successfully for our clients when going home just isn't an option because you need the support of family who are in the country. So if this is you or it's your parent or your grandparent in that situation, please get in contact with us and we'll see if we can give you some ideas or help you out with that situation. And finally, for those of you who are caught offshore or who are onshore unlawfully, there is no news. For those offshore, it was raised a number of times with the minister about how he's going to handle those who were caught offshore due to a quick trip offshore when the border closed. And the minister has suggested that you apply for a regular work visa if there's a job offer available to you here, which we think doesn't really go far enough or really respond to the fact that you had a visa but you were caught offshore by a border that closed without you knowing. For those who are unlawfully onshore, the minister has admitted that there is an issue there, but he is still getting advice on that topic. And that's probably still some months away before he has something on that. He does have a number of different visa types to look at, a number of situations to look at. But it would be nice to have something from him, or at least an understanding that it is being seriously looked at, and we'll have and perhaps giving us a date he will respond to that issue on for those of you who here are onshore unlawfully. But that is it for today's video. As I said, please share it with others. We're going to try and get the information out there, try to help people out. And leave a review for us if we have helped you out. For the links in the description down below, we're here to help any of you if you need some assistance with your visas or with your SMC or with anything else. Please get in contact with us. Until next time, wherever we may be, kia kaha and stay safe.